The funding for this video is provided by the amazing members of my Patreon. Also contributions from viewers like you. Thank you. Yeah, I started from PBS Kids. What you gonna do? Fight me? Anyway, roll the video. So the film X, along with its prequel that came out after it, Pearl, it left me thinking a lot about the subject of desirability. And I know you're probably thinking, what does a movie that has to do with corn and a mentally unstable woman have to do with the title of this video? And it actually has a lot to do with the Disney princesses, because you know what? We have this thing called media literacy. So in the movie X, we are introduced to a woman named Pearl, and in this film she is about 80, 90 years old. I'm pretty sure Pearl's about like 80 here, but she has a lot of issues that I just truly can't defend. There are certain points to where I just had to stop feeling bad for Pearl, because I was like, baby, no. Like, you know how you hold those characters that you can make an in defense for video for? She's not one of those I will be able to make that for. But one of her main issues has to do with the fact that she misses being young, at least looking young. And mind you, Mia Goth, so I understand the point they wanted to get across with that, but also you picked a woman that looks fairly young. So alright. As I said, Pearl misses being young. She misses looking young. Like Pearl and many other people, they associate being attractive with being young. Because in the movie X, her desirability is basically gone and her husband does not want to sleep with her. Wow. Her husband doesn't want to sleep with her because of his health issues. She personally feels as if it has to do with the fact that he just doesn't find her attractive anymore. He no longer finds her desirable, to be exact. And because of this, she is jealous of the younger women that are at her home, especially the woman that looks a lot like her when she was younger. So we get to learn about how she was when she was younger in the prequel film called Pearl. And Pearl, who was desperately wanting to be in the spotlight, she wanted to be famous. She constantly said that she wanted to be a star. She wanted to be a person that people knew. Like, mind you, this was during the time of when Pearl, you could say, was air quote in her prime. And when you're in your prime in the age of entertainment, that's your 20s, sadly. Or even 18 and 19 years old, I throw there in the mix. Pearl even said herself, I'm only young once. And she felt that she was wasting her 20s, or how old, I'm pretty sure she was in her 20s. She had to be taking care of her dad and the family farm. And she also told her mother that she didn't want to end up like her, as in wasting away her youthfulness. And here's the thing with Pearl. When she didn't get the audition, the casting director told her why she didn't get the part. He says, exactly, we were looking for something different today, more American, younger, and blonde. And this honestly resulted in Pearl being bitchy for so long because she was not able to use her beauty in the way she wanted to her advantage. And because Pearl did not get that when she was in her 20s, it led to her doing horrible things. And because of that, Pearl reminds me of just a classic Disney villain. The old person who is envious of a young person and does unacceptable things to them for revenge because they're so insecure with themselves. Hey y'all, so before we continue on with today's video, I just want to let you guys know I have added new products to my website. I have added new lip glosses, I have added new stickers, I've added new bookmarks to just as well, and I've also added a few of my art prints there too. And then also commissions are open. That is through my Ko-fi link, so all of that information will be down below. Now let's go ahead and continue on with today's subject matter on the desirability of a Disney princess. So if you were here on my channel back in December, you may have known I had a series called Disney-cember, which was 24 days long for me, where I just uploaded Disney related content. So there was a subject that I had gotten to in one of the videos that made me realize that this was a bigger issue at hand. And the video was about how so many Disney villains are rooted in bigotry, and one of those facts have to do with ageism. For those of you guys who don't know, when it comes to the Disney princess lineup, which is the focus of today, and the official one, not the one that y'all put together by the fans. So you're over here saying Princess Kita is a Disney princess. Yes, baby, she is. But I'm talking about the official Disney lineup. That is who we are referring to. The oldest person in that lineup up until Frozen 2's release was Elsa, and she was 21. Frozen 2 came out a few years later. Pretty sure Elsa was about 24 in that movie. Still young. Like, excuse me? Excuse me. But before we get into the topic of ageism in Disney and all of its issues, there are two women that I specifically want to talk about because I feel like the subject of ageism surrounds them a lot. And one, that being Lola Brooke, who is a rapper, and two, Alexa Demie, an actor. And honestly, Lola and Alexa are both like iconic in different ways, as they do more than just their main profession. But both of them have made their ages pretty ambiguous to the public, which isn't surprising because people in the entertainment industry lie about their ages all the time, and they make their age ambiguous as possible. Not saying that it's right, I'm just saying it happens all the time. But the truth came out that Alexa is actually 32 years old, but many people were believing that she was in her mid-20s. And Lola Brooke, while it's not exactly been put out how old she is, she's not that young as people think she is. She's not that young as she presents herself. Lola Brooke is pushing 30, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, to be honest. I love me some Lola Brooke, okay? Like, no, that's homegirl. That's this right there. But I found it so weird how when she didn't reveal her age and people ended up finding out that she is said to be about 28, 29 years old, that people were looking at her differently. And I was like, no, she's still a very gorgeous woman. Because when it comes to women in this industry, and I'm not specifically talking about the film industry, I'm talking about the entertainment industry as a whole. People that create entertainment and work in the business of creating entertainment for people. We're talking about it overall because, ooh, some of y'all did not seem to get that. But when it comes to women in this industry, if they learn about your true age, you can often get turned away, as they don't believe that they can find a woman in her 30s or like pushing 30 or even like pushing 40 to be attractive. The entertainment industry is very ageist when it comes to women because they are aware that if they are a certain age, they are no longer able to get certain roles. They are no longer able to get certain opportunities because they become an age where they are no longer seen as attractive. Why do y'all think so many of the crew members on these shows are much older than the cast? That has a contribution to that. Why do you guys think that so many celebrities are constantly getting plastic surgery so they can look young? Because when they become an age where they are no longer seen as air quote attractive, well, yes, you'll still get work. You'll most definitely still be getting jobs, but you won't be getting the shit that you want, most likely. You won't be able to wear the outfits that you want to wear and rap and think about the things that you want to do that about. That is why we have so many starving artists like right out of high school and in their 20s, because they know that when they begin to age and enter into their 30s, that people will perceive them differently. And our media has a big effect on that. Like, y'all, why do you think we constantly have mom characters where the actor only be 10 years older than the teen character or a character that is in their 20s that they are playing the mother of? Ageism. And I remember that I even found out that people were told that they were too old to play the love interest of a man when the man was like much older, and they weren't like no older than, I say, 25 years old. That is upsetting. Hi everyone, the captain here. I just wanted to get on here real quick and tell you guys thank you so much for your support. I have gotten so much fan art from you guys, and I've met plenty of y'all in person at the conventions that I have been at. And also thank you guys so much for coming to the panels that I host. It means so much to me. You guys are so great. I appreciate every little last bit of support you guys give me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I can say thank you 100 times, but I truly do mean it. Thank you.
Sunshine, oh, this is the day. Is this joy?
Hi, editing me here. So I realized that I said something kind of wrong in like the first section of this video, so I deleted it, and I do still want to give my thoughts and opinions on this because I do think it's important for me to say a lot of people tend to praise Frozen for it not being ageist like any other Disney films, but honestly, Frozen is not a movie that I personally think needs to be praised that much. And I'm not trying to sound like a hater because I know it was a big deal with this being like a Disney production that actually had a lot of women behind the scenes working of it. A woman wrote the screenplay and yada yada yada. I get that. I understand it. I'm not trying to sound like a hater. But also, Disney still plays into the ageism factor when it comes to its two leading girls, Anna and Elsa. And I said girls because that's just something I always say. The girls, yeah, that's just slang. Anna and Elsa, Anna's like 18, Elsa's like 21 in this film. That is still fairly young, and it's not that much of a step up from the other Disney princesses because all the Disney princesses, no one is over the age of 30. But it's weird, and I'm gonna be honest, I think Disney tends to forget how old a lot of their characters are. Mainly with their movies that come out in the theaters, the big theatrical projects that get the biggest budgets. It's opposed to where it's their TV animation department, where I remember somebody was saying that Mabel from Gravity Falls is extremely annoying, and I was like, Mabel from Gravity Falls acts her age. She literally is a preteen. She's in middle school. That's how middle schoolers act. That is how I acted a lot when I was in middle school. I go back and I watch a lot of these Disney princess movies. When I was little, I had no idea a lot of these women, girls, because some of them not even 18, I had no idea that so many of them were that young. I thought so many of them were older because of the way they looked and some of the outfit choices that Disney picked out for them. Like I said, I think Disney tends to forget how old they make these characters. Because you already have them here at this young ass age. You know you stupid at that age. You don't know no better. But then, as the movie goes on, I'm like, why is this girl acting like she's 32? Why does this literal child have all this responsibility onto her? Where are her parents? Where is her mother? Like, I understand, like, a lot of these parents, they're terrible to their kids. They be dying and shit like that. But it's annoying, and I'm just like, how am I older than all of these people at this point? The only person I'm not older than is Elsa, and she's 24, and I still don't have my shit together. And I personally feel like Disney has honestly taken into consideration that these princesses don't act their ages. I think that is the main reason why we saw that princess sleepover scene in Wreck-It Ralph 2, which was a not good movie, a movie with a lot of issues, but it was really cute to see because we were like, yes, they are acting their age finally for like the first time ever. And even you can go back with Frozen and say something about how when Elsa had told Anna, you can't marry somebody that you just met, and we were like, yes, thank you for putting in the little throwaways here and there, especially with Snow White dumbass over here eating the poison apple. Girl, why would you eat that? And then with Aurora over here pricking her finger, why would you touch that girl? Why would you do that? And I did appreciate how Aurora, mind you, Sleeping Beauty is one of my favorite movies of all time. I do appreciate how she was freaked out by meeting that man in the woods, but also we barely saw her ass in the movie. She most likely was only in that shit for 10-15 minutes, and that movie is not long either. But it is annoying just watching these Disney movies because so much of this responsibility is put onto these literal teenagers, these people that don't know shit, and it gets frustrating because I remember y'all were shocked when I straight up told y'all that Princess Tiana is not that old as y'all thought she was. Because a lot of people told me that Princess Tiana was 25. Baby, no, she's 19. Tia is 19. I'm telling you, Disney adultified the fuck out of her. And it's kind of sad to see how she is like one of the main characters in this lineup that is like working her ass off at such a young age. Like I said, Disney is trying to do better with their princess lineup, but there are still so many flaws that happen in its older works that just genuinely can't be ignored. Because you want to know why these problems can't be ignored? Because young girls watch these movies. These movies are timeless tales. People are constantly watching them. When I was in middle school, I used to watch Tangled all the time. And now that I'm an adult, I don't watch Tangled all the time, but there is another person in middle school that is watching Tangled all the time. These movies don't necessarily go out of style. People are still constantly showing them to their children. Snow White came out in the 30s. I saw Snow White when I was a little girl. Cinderella came out in the 30s. I watched Cinderella when I was a little girl. All of those old ass Disney movies, that I was not there when the things came out. They constantly get passed down to generation to generation to generation. And then when you go to the Disney parks, the people are dressed up as these people. They are playing these characters. They want you to know this. They want you to remember this. Why do you think Disney Plus became a thing? Low key, so these people will have better access to watching these films. I'm telling you, like I said, the damage is done, Disney. The damage is done. Okay? And I noticed one thing in particular, that when it just comes to the Disney princess lineup overall, so much of the story has to do with the fact that they are seen to be desirable, which is very off-putting, knowing that a lot of these Disney princesses aren't even older than 18. Like Snow White is 13, 14 years old. Jasmine's like 15, and the way they had her dressed up was very much questionable, especially along with the way that they drew her too. There are so many factors when it comes to the Disney princesses that are very much eye-raising and also confusing, because one thing in particular that's very kind of frustrating when it comes to these movies is that a lot of these characters don't even really act their age, because when you are under the age of 21, you are not that smart as you think you are not that bright as you think you are. And that's one thing I praised about The Little Mermaid, is because Ariel does act that age. Like 16-year-olds act that way, but with Snow White, very dull, boring, yada yada yada. We go through life thinking that these princesses are older than what they are, but then when we sit down and learn about their age, we were like, for what reason did you need to make them that young? You still could have told this story, if not better, if you made the leading lady older. Most of the lineup usually are white girls, thin, have small features, yada yada yada. You know, the air quote American girl next door look. That's what so many of the white Disney princesses present themselves to be. But we also need to talk about the desirability aspect that come to play with the princesses of color. And I think the main example of this I would like to use would have to be Pocahontas and Tiana. It's such a big problem when it comes to Pocahontas' character overall, because let's be fucking for real, that movie should have never been made. That should not have been made. But it was so many odd things that went into that film, because one, Pocahontas, the real Pocahontas, at that time of her life when the British came over and fucked shit up, she was very much like 12, 11 years old. In the film, they aged her up to, I say, about like 19 or 18 years old. She was older than that, a completely different person. And so much of the story has to do with this white man finding her to be attractive. Because I'm pretty sure there's one thing that I have learned about men, is that a lot of them don't really necessarily have an interest in speaking with you unless they think you're cute. I get it. I understand it. I have dealt with this shit at work before, and mind you, let's be for real, because I don't want nobody trying to say, oh, you're just better that men are not talking to you. No, there have been instances where men were talking to me and not my friends, but then there were numerous other instances where men were talking to my friends and not me. It happens. I just wanted to throw that out there because it just goes to show you that what men find attractive is different in every woman, okay? It's different, okay? But no, that is a true factor. A lot of men just will not pay you any attention or look your way or give you the time of day if they just don't find you attractive. No, I got something shady to say, because it's this one dude where I was just like, he was so much nicer to all my other friends and they look different than me. But then when he started to realize that I had some kind of status, he started being kinder. Okay, dude. Okay. But anyway, back on topic, as we have Pocahontas, this very beautiful person right here. So much of the story has to do with her just necessarily being attractive. And as I mentioned that with Pocahontas, I want to get into the issue with Princess Tiana, because it's not necessarily an issue, I'd say. But one thing I have noticed, that when it comes to being a black woman, we have so many requirements on what we have to be in order to be seen as attractive. For people who don't know, fat phobia is rooted in Eurocentric beauty standards, for those of you guys who are unaware of that situation right there. But when we are talking about Princess Tiana, like I said, there are just so many of these requirements that that have to go off the checklist when it comes to a Disney princess beyond just being white. Because somebody had even said something about how, why isn't Princess Tiana's hair out? Why doesn't she have a big afro? And I was like, oh, because that shit made them uncomfortable. They said in order to find her desirable, we kind of have to make her hair look straight, but not necessarily, so let's put it in a bun. We knew what y'all was doing with that character design. And while we do appreciate that Princess Tiana is dark skinned, because yes, we love that. That is why live action Princess Tiana, she should be played by a dark skinned woman. We also have to take into account that she is a skinny girl. Princess Tiana is a thin woman, and that plays into her desirability. And while it is nice to see that when it comes to Tiana's character, that Naveen did not fall in love with her because of her looks, but who she was as a person, it's not like he didn't know what she looked like before. Editing me here, because I got more to say about how people be trying to say that Naveen didn't fall in love with her for her looks. He fell in love with her like, and he knew her because, you know, they spent most of their time together as frogs. I feel like a lot of y'all are just forgetting that he thinks she was attractive. There's a whole scene where he's a frog and she's talking to him, you know, when she's wearing the blue dress, looking real fine because Princess Tiana is fine. Let's stop acting like she isn't. He thinks she was cute. Like, I just can't stand it how when people want to talk about the Disney princesses and whatnot, when it comes to Tiana, people don't want to bring her looks into play. And I was like, no, don't sit here and act like she's not gorgeous, because she is. And let's stop acting like Naveen did not find her attractive, because he in fact did. So much of the Disney princess lineup has to do with the fact that their prince, the man that they end up marrying, finds them to be cute. Like, it's not something that we just can act like that, because let's just go ahead and say this, a lot of y'all be dating people because you think they're cute. There's a reason why a lot of y'all, when y'all go out on dates and whatnot, you know, when you're on Tinder, you know, when you on dating apps, part of the reason why you clicked on that person's profile is because you thought they was attractive. It's okay to go ahead and admit that. And also, before I get back to it, beauty is subjective. What everyone finds to be attractive is different, but also what a lot of people find to be attractive is also rooted in bigotry. We can talk about both. And when it comes to desirability for Black women, I'd say that it is different with us than when it comes for white women, because we have to meet certain standards in order to be viewed as attractive, because we were never gonna get away with Princess Tiana looking different than what she was. Like, it's like they were like, okay, y'all can have her being a dark-skinned girl, but you're not gonna get an afro. Like, that's literally how it felt. And while yes, I am here for the diversity range that is slowly coming along with the Disney princess lineup, we also still have to take into account that they all have to fall into a certain category that Disney wants them to be. Because one thing in particular that I find extremely interesting is that if it's going to be a Disney princess movie, they always find a way to make them look similar in some way, shape, or form. And that usually has to do with their body and their hair. But when it comes to other Disney movies, regular people, or people that are just not princesses or whatever, they have no issue with body diversity and hair diversity or whatever the fuck, especially when it comes to features on the face. Yeah. The Disney princess lineup is one that honestly is extremely problematic because it is very much rooted in desirability, which is going to lead us into our next issue that have to do with the Disney parks. And I know, before we move on to it, this is just a little sidebar comment that I have. I know I sit here and say people are praising Disney for being more diverse and inclusive or whatnot, but a lot of people know Disney for that one lineup, which is the Disney princesses. While we have seen improvements with the way they choose to present the leading ladies in these properties, there's still so much work to be done. Because yes, it's fun, it's interesting that we get to see different kinds of people with other Disney properties, but when it comes to this one specific lineup, they all have the same overlying issue. One thing that people do not tell you when it comes to playing a Disney princess at the Disney parks, being a face character, desirability is a big factor into that. It's honestly more accurate versus actually being talented. Like, yes, you do need to know how to act and you do need to know how to sing in order to get these roles, but talent isn't necessarily the first thing they go for, in my opinion. Because first of all, you are white and skinny, you already have a bigger chance of getting the job over another person because they are very much limited on who they pick to be certain characters. They, like I said, black people legit can only be Princess Tiana, and if they want to bring another black character here and there. Because I was so happy to see that they added Moon Girl at the parks. But also, white women have so many range of characters that they can choose from when it comes to auditioning for a face character at the Disney parks. Let's just keep it a buck. Let's say exactly what it is. Y'all have an easier chance of getting a job. But you know what? There's more to it, because like I said, if you're white and skinny, can sing and act, you've already checked off the list. You already have that enough. Like, yes, I'm not saying that y'all don't necessarily need to be talented to get this part, but a lot of y'all really gotta own up to the fact that your looks are part of the reason why you get opportunities. I'll sit here and own up to the fact that that's part of the reason why I've gotten certain shit. It's true. If the person that is casting you finds you desirable enough for this part, they're gonna put you in it, because they have certain size requirements for those costumes. They don't go over I'm not sure exactly what the size range is when it comes to the costumes that the women are wearing, and also in B's, because not everybody identifies as she, her, but those people that choose to audition and get the role and take on that of the Disney princesses, I've seen numerous pictures of these people at the parks. They are all thin, they are all skinny. I don't want to sit here and assume their size range, but I'm pretty sure that these parks do not carry dress sizes no bigger than most likely a 6 for these characters. And moving forward with that right there, I do want to get into the subject when it comes to the characters of color that are face characters with Disney, because they have really bad issues with them. Because I remember Princess Tiana always be getting dragged on social media because Disney is colorist as hell when it comes to them casting her at their parks. They always be casting a light bright woman to play her. And while yes, I understand that that woman that they picked is black, sometimes they be picking mixed race women to play Tiana, and absolutely no. Tiana's a dark-skinned woman. She is canonically a dark-skinned woman. It would be one thing if this was a situation like a Disney princess party situation where you or a light-skinned black woman got hired to be Princess Tiana for this. Black women are able to dress up as Princess Tiana as much as they want. But when it comes to like the official Disney park, you need to be a replica of what that character looks like. You need a dark-skinned woman there, because it makes no fucking sense how I have seen so many pictures come out and out about these face characters at the Disney parks, and they be picking a mixed light-skinned woman, or they pick a light-skinned black woman to portray Princess Tiana, and they also be doing a horrible job of casting the Veen just as well. They be casting a whole white man sometimes. Y'all are not slick. We see through your bullshit. It takes a lot to be a face character at these parks, because I even found out when it came to the Tinkerbell situation, they usually always hire a very thin woman because the costume is just so small for them to get in. And I hate the fact that that is a factor into you getting a job. If you are small enough to fit in an outfit, you will literally get the part over somebody that most likely was more talented than you, but because they weren't thin enough to get into the outfit, they didn't get it. They won't even think about adjusting it for that person. That's how much they genuinely don't care about body diversity. Overall, I think we need to start having a better approach when it comes to these characters within the Disney parks, because it's like I said, the Disney princess lineup has numerous issues, and I was like, I wish that we could see more body diversity and actually having darker actors of color portray these characters, because I have seen some of these Moanas, I have seen some of these Isabel Madrigals, like I'm talking about official Disney, like official Disney stuff. I have seen some things and I'm just like, that is not morally correct. That is not, you should not do that. I find it very ridiculous how people who do Disney princess parties, like, you know, the princess party, shout out to the princess party community. I like y'all, okay? Y'all was really fucking with me when I made that video, but I really do like the Disney princess party community. There's a lot of issues with that community. That's another topic for another time, but we're just here to focus on the positives of that. I like it when I go and look at these Disney princess party companies and I see the actors that are playing these characters, and you see so much more diversity and more accurate things here with them than you do at the Disney parks. Because I know a lot of black actors that do these princess parties, they were talking about how they love the fact that when they're doing a princess party, they are allowed to play characters like Aurora and Snow White and even Cinderella, because if they go to the Disney park, they're most likely only gonna have the opportunity to play Tiana most of the time, because every now and then there will be other black characters in, or you'll have to wear the suit with the hat on it. You barely have much of an opportunity. But when you work for these small businesses that do these face characters, you have more of that chance. But like I said, it just has to do with the fact that Disney wants to make an exact replica of what they have in the movie, which I get it, I understand it completely, but also like I said, there's just some factors to look into, because I'm just like, yeah, you're trying to have this accuracy here, but you don't realize how much of your accuracy is rooted in desirability. Because I'm not even joking, I'm pretty sure teeth has to play into it, because I have been told numerous times that I would be way more attractive if I actually got braces. Mind you, this is something about myself that I don't hate. This is something about myself that I actually genuinely do like. But because so many people think it's hideous, they're like, no, you're not pretty. I don't care what nobody says. I'm fine with my gap. I come around and I think about The Little Mermaid too, and mind you that this is a movie that I used to just have on when I was at cheer camp and they would just play it. But one thing in particular that I noticed that kind of frustrated me was that Ariel was not allowed to age. Like, no, she does not look any much older than she did in the 80s film, the original. The film that this is a sequel to. She most likely looks 3 years older at most. Ariel was 16 in the original film. And mind you, she had a child. She literally had a literal baby. Taking care of another human being weighs on you, and it makes you age a little bit. She was not able to age. So moving back to Pearl before she was clocked, and it was very much well deserved. There were 3 Disney princess movies that came out during her time. That would have to be Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, and Cinderella. And mind you that those aren't the only princess films that were out at the time, but those were like 3 of the most well-known ones because they were Disney. And there were numerous other old Hollywood films that came out during her time, but when she was alive just as well. And she was in the light of Jean Harlow and Katharine Hepburn, and we all know her, Marilyn Monroe. Even Jean Seberg, I threw her in there. And Betty Davis and Joan Crawford. And even when it came to Betty Davis and Joan Crawford, we saw how different the roles they played when they began to age. Pearl liked to go to the movies. We saw that when she was up in there getting drunk up at the theater. I wouldn't say she was getting drunk, but she was taking a little sippy sip or something. Pearl liked to go to the movies as she aspired to be in them. So of course she has seen these things. She has seen what the film industry finds desirable. She even had that shit told to her face by the cast and director that they didn't find her desirable enough. They told her that she looked like everyone else and they wanted something different. She already felt insecure because of the fact that she wasn't seen as beautiful or a different kind of beautiful. She even had a taste of that seeing how the industry views older women versus younger women. And mind you, Pearl is young. She's young as hell back in the day before she started to age when that incident happened. When it comes to the way women and girls are portrayed in Disney, because of Aurora and Snow White and Beautiful, while they were not grown, like I said, they were young. They were really the only people in the films that were seen as beautiful, because in Snow White's case in particular, you know, we have that older woman that is extremely mean and nasty to her and goes out of her way to harm her. And then here we have this bitter ass older woman, Maleficent. But also one thing I noticed in particular when it comes to Sleeping Beauty is that the people that are taking care of Aurora when she is, like, you know, supposed to be hidden away for her safety, they aren't necessarily seen as desirable either. The only person in this movie that is really sought out to be seen as beautiful was Aurora. And that's because she fit into that male gazy type, the desirability factor. And while Cinderella's stepsisters were the same age as her, they didn't necessarily fit into that same beauty standard. Mind you that Cinderella's stepsisters have issues with their characters because they are rooted in anti-Semitism. That's another topic for another discussion, just like their mama was too. Cinderella was the only person in this movie that was allowed to be seen as beautiful, which I understand completely because, you know, it's a movie about how the prince picks her and she goes off with him in the end. But also, they go out of your way to make sure that you don't necessarily find anyone else to be attractive and desirable other than her and the prince. And I noticed one thing in particular when they wanted to show how Cinderella was much more desirable than her stepsisters was the entire singing situation, because her stepsisters couldn't sing for shit. They sounded fucking horrible, okay? But Cinderella could sing oh so beautifully. They made every little last thing about her seem so much cuter to them, even down to the way she walked and presented herself around the house. Cinderella didn't even yell. She didn't even get loud like her stepsisters did. I know we often grow up and talk about how we want to be a Disney princess. I get it, I understand. I still low-key see myself as a Disney princess, and I constantly tell myself, you're just the Disney princess that's in the sad part of her movie right now. Everything is gonna be okay. I get it, I understand it, because we have these strong female characters that we love to look up to, and they have their ups and downs, but they always come out okay in the end. But also, it's just kind of puts a little bad taste in my mouth how there really is just a lack of diversity still with this line. Well, yes, it is great that we are getting more diversity when it comes to the Disney princesses, but also we have to think of intersectionality just as well when it comes to that diversity. Where's the different kinds of personalities? We are starting to get a little bit better with the personality aspect, I say, especially when it comes to Rapunzel. Mind you, why couldn't y'all put Vanellope in the official Disney princess lineup? Because people kept on parading around talking about Vanellope Von Sweets is a Disney princess, and you even had her into that Disney princess like party scene in Wreck-It Ralph 2. Why didn't y'all add her to the official lineup? I don't necessarily get that. I don't understand why they didn't do that. But also, like I said, Vanellope looks drastically different than all the other people in the Disney princess lineup. And mind you, Vanellope is like 11, 12 years old. I don't even think Vanellope is a teenager yet. Vanellope looks drastically different than a lot of these girls. And even with all the other strong Disney characters that people truly admire that are females, they look extremely different than the Disney princesses. Like I had mentioned earlier, Disney allows their characters to look different in different kinds of aspects when it's not them a part of the lineup. Because I really do appreciate Encanto with the way we saw so many different kinds of people and body types within that film, but that was not a princess movie. It wasn't. And mind you, I love the Disney princess movie films, okay? I don't hate them. I'm not sitting here and saying that you shouldn't watch these movies anymore, because no, a lot of them are great movies. Sleeping Beauty is literally one of my favorite movies of all time, literally in my top 3. I have 3 favorite movies. It is Pretty in Pink, Scream, and Sleeping Beauty. I get it. I understand it. But also, we have to take into consideration that Hollywood and just the entertainment industry overall, it's not just a problem with the American film industry, it's a problem universal, that desirability plays a big factor into what they choose to do with certain lines and whatnot. Like, I remember somebody even mentioned something about how One Piece annoys them because they genuinely just don't want to draw any woman with a smaller chest. And I was like, that's so irritating to me. And as we know, beauty is subjective. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But so many people don't seem to understand that their preferences and their biases really do stem from what they are seeing in the media and what they are seeing from television. I remember I even found this article. If I can find it, I'll link it down below. But it was just talking about how the Disney princesses really have issues relating to body image, I say. And someone had even mentioned something about how these characters are like celebrities to people. A lot of people see the Disney princess to be celebrities, and part of that has to do with the fact that they resemble them. Very soft-spoken, sweet, presented as cute and whatnot, but they fit into all of the beauty standards that are required to be a part of Hollywood, or air quote, able to make it in Hollywood. it just sucks and it's just annoying. But I don't want this video to go on too long because I already got a whole bunch of other shit that I need to edit. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I deeply do appreciate it. Like I said, all the new lip glosses, stickers, art, all on the new website. The commissions are open. Can't wait to get started on that. Style Queen Volume 3 was supposed to come out this week. I wasn't able to get it because I've been caught up with class. But that's pretty much all I want to say for this video. I don't want to ramble on anymore. This was just something that crossed my mind because when I was watching Pearl and X, I just could not stop thinking about how I was like, why is this reminding me so much of the Disney princess lineup? Because I was like, they were like, oh, you have to be thin and white and this and that and the third to be a Disney princess. Like somebody had pointed it out. And I was like, yeah, this is an issue. But y'all know my channel is just me speaking about like my thoughts and opinions on the world, especially that damn company. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. Thank you. If you watched this video with the ads on, deeply do appreciate that. We love that. I have a few other announcements because I'm going to be at MomoCon. That is going to be an entire event that I need to prepare for. And you're going to be there. Don't feel free to stop by my table, say hi, come to my panels. We still got a while to go though. I will give more updates along the way of what my schedule is going to be like. So if anybody wants to come and check out my stuff, you can do that. But thank you guys so much for watching and have a good night.
Now that you see, you should beware of the power of three. They come to fight as fast as they can. They're dangerous yet fabulous. Because the Utonium made them eschew. They are the colors of pink, green, and blue. They'll catch you in the blink of an eye and do it all before bedtime. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they're shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. They coming through and fighting, and everyone they're shocking. You know no one can stop them all because of the chemical X. The Powerpuff Girls will just blow your mind. Buttercup like villains 3 at a time. Bubbles will smile while kicking your butt, and Blossom will lead them out of their rut. Cherish and Powerpuff, 2 of a kind. Both wanna save the world before bedtime. From Townsville, Memphis, New York to LA, the Powerpuff Girls are just here to stay.